Okay, everybody, so a little recap of the lesson. We mostly talked about slope. So the book, if I turn the page, gave us kind of a weird thing about slope, and they've got S and F of S and T of F, but those are just 2 points. So let's change it to maybe x1, y1, okay, instead of this, and make it x2, y2 instead of this, okay? So you got your first point, point 1, and you got your second point, point 2. So the slope is rise. We know slope is rise over run. So it's going to be up and over, which is the difference between my y values. So we know that it is going to be, our slope formula y2, so m is y2 minus y1 over our run, which is our difference in our x's, x2 minus x1. Okay, so there's our slope formula, and hopefully we have that in notes. We've talked about that before. It's also called the average rate of change. Okay, so slope, average rate of change, same thing. Okay, then we looked at how do you know if it's going to be, first of all, if it's going to be linear. And we looked at this one, it goes up by 4, up by 4, up by 4. So we know that it's got a constant rate of up by 4, so that's the slope is 4. We get the exact same expression, but in y equals mx plus b form. It goes up by 4, up by 4, up by 4. So we have the exact same function. One's going to be in what we call explicit form, and the other's in y equals mx plus b. They're both the same, slope of 4. This one we see is down by 5, down by 5, down by 5, so the slope has got to be negative 5. Okay, you're just going to see if it's a constant, it's linear. We know it's linear if it's a constant slope, constant differences. Okay, then we go over to number 3, and it goes, let's see, it goes up by 3. And it goes up by 6 and up by 9. That's not linear at all. So we're not even going to bother with that because the slope is constantly changing. And then on this one, we go up by 4, but then we go up by 32. But then the difference between these two is 8. So the slope is still negative 4. So it's a little bit tricky because from here to here is a big push of 8. And this big push of 32. So the slope is still 4. And then we found the equation. So if we need the equation, linear function, we want to write it. We're going to use our y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's our equation of a line. Okay, and we plugged our y value. I picked my first value, y1, and I did my x1 here. And if I were to simplify this, I'd get a y minus 12 equals a negative 4x minus 8 because I multiplied. Plus 12 y equals a negative 4x. If I add 12, I get plus 4. Okay? The equation of that line. Okay, I looked at C. It goes up by 3, up by 5, up by 7. It's not linear, so we don't care. D is a little tricky, but it does go up by the same amount. It goes up by 0, up by 0, up by 0. So the slope is 0, up 0 over 1. And again, I used my equation, and I ended up with an equation y equals 3. Okay, and then that's about all we have. The homework is page 199. And page 200, and that's what I have for today. All right, good. I'll see you tomorrow.